Michigan mother jailed for refusing to vaccinate her son. A mother in the US state of Michigan has been sentenced to 7 days in jail after she refused a judge's order to have her son vaccinated. Rebecca Bredow would not let her 9-year-old be immunized after initially agreeing with the father to do so. Her ex-husband has now been awarded temporary primary custody in order to get the boy the jab. She deserves longer than 7 days. What is up, everybody, and welcome. The coronavirus has spread and is pretty much infecting everywhere. People are dying. It's spreading like wildfire. Australia is literally on fire with a hurricane also about to wreck shop. So I am here to remind you that in the rest of the world, it is also really terrible. The world's ending, guys. And I'm here to remind you of that. So today, and today only, unless this video does really well, at which point there might be more, but we are bringing back vaxxhappened. Woo! Honestly, just with everything that's going on, it just feels like we need to spread more awareness about the fact that these people still exist, somehow. Around that time, Boston doctor Emmanuel Pfeiffer declared that healthy people were not at risk from smallpox. To prove his point, he visited a hospital on Gallops Island in Boston Harbor, where infected patients were being quarantined. He caught the virus and nearly died. Well, you get what you deserve. This one, I struggled to tell which side was which. It's only the fact that it was the poster that was in this that gave it away. So, explain to me how vaccines work from your research you've done.
If they are non-live, they sensitize your immune system against the antigens in the vaccine.
And what effect does that have? Say I get the polio vaccine, and then I'm exposed to polio naturally. What will happen?
The short-term effect is immune activation due to the adjuvant. The long-term effect are antibodies against specific proteins.
So by getting the vaccines, my body will build up an immunity to the disease that the vaccine is exposing me to?
It will.
So vaccines work! It's like the SpongeBob episode with Patrick and the wallet. That's literally this conversation.
Elderberry syrup, half an onion cut next to his bed. Were great for my kiddos. They all had flu last week.
I second the elderberry syrup.
I don't know where this half an onion thing came from, but it does nothing. The half an onion is not gonna save you from a disease. An elderberry syrup just tastes nice when put in drinks. That's all it does. That's not gonna cure a disease either, guys. The idea isn't you cure diseases with vaccines. It is you prevent getting the disease in the first place. You don't need an onion and elderberry if you're just immune to it. Also, I'm going to teach a little science lesson here for those of you that might not know this because the school education system didn't teach you well enough. And this will also educate anti-vaxxers, should any anti-vaxxers have made it this far into this video without writing an angry comment and leaving. When you are immune to a disease, being immune does not mean that you cannot catch that disease. In fact, it is quite the opposite. You will still catch that disease. If you are immune to chickenpox, you still technically get chickenpox. What being immune to a disease actually means is your body becomes so efficient at counteracting this disease. It has antibodies prepared and memorized specifically to counter that disease fast enough that the disease is killed off and exited from your body before the disease leaves any of its excrement and waste, which is what makes you ill. You still get the disease, but your body kills the disease faster than you even know you have it. That is what it actually means to be immune. And that is what vaccines do. They give your body the knowledge on how to kill the disease should it enter your body.
Farmageddon. 1983, 10 vaccines. 2013, 32 vaccines. 2018, 74 vaccines. Autism rates. 1983, 1 in 10,000. 2013, 1 in 81. 2018, 1 in 36. 1 in 28 boys.
So what about the autistic people who are unvaccinated? And what about the vaccinated people that aren't autistic? Have you ever heard the phrase, correlation does not equal causation? There's this thing, right? It's called modern science and modern psychological knowledge, right? Basically, in modern times, we are much more adept at actually telling who's autistic and who isn't. And also in modern times, we aren't trying to hide the fact that people are autistic at the risk of them being put in a loony bin. You ever thought about that? Well, now you have. Little boy has been sick for about 5 days, and the doc think it's viral, so no antibiotics yet. Plus, I know how bad antibiotics are for everyone, especially babes. I've been reading Homeopathic remedies. Has anyone tried oil of oregano or colloidal silver for babies? I have not tried either of those, but use elderberry. It comes in chewable gummies and syrup.
My girlfriend swears by silver, push fluids, water juice, and bone broth. I swear by this. And plenty of rest. Oils don't work, IMO. It's the placebo effect at work.
Guys, none of this works. If they worked, they would be in commonplace practice in hospitals. Doctors would use them. You know, if things actually worked, everybody would use them, but they don't work. And the things that do actually work and everybody uses are the things that you're trying to advocate are bad. Hi, recording this during the process of editing this video. I was curious about what colloidal silver was, so I looked it up. Apparently, colloidal silver is tiny fragments of silver suspended in a liquid. Now, there is an NIH, or NCCIH, the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health. That was hard to read. Basically, this article talks about how colloidal silver can have awful side effects that are permanent. It can cause your skin to turn a bluish grey colour. It can make the body fail and be worse at absorbing actual medication. It can build up, basically silver can build up in the body's tissue, which causes a bluish grey colour, so that's what causes it. It's called argyria. Is colloidal silver effective? Silver has no known function or benefits in the body when taken by mouth, which is what colloidal silver is. Silver is not a nutritionally essential mineral. People may be exposed to silver, usually in tiny amounts through air, water, when working in activities like jewelry making. Topical silver, which is silver used on the skin, has some appropriate medical uses, such as in bandages and dressings to treat burns, skin wounds, or skin infections. It's also in medicines to prevent conjunctivitis, an eye condition in newborns. However, there are no legally marketed prescription or over-the-top counter drugs containing colloidal silver that are taken by the mouth. Basically, colloidal silver is actually worse for you when ingested through the mouth than when applied, funnily enough, professionally by a doctor who knows what he's doing. This was someone talking about the coronavirus, and they said,
I'd bet God already has a cure and a prevention.
My stance on this is God does have a cure and a prevention, and God gives those cures and preventions to us in the form of antibiotics and vaccines. They're scientists and they're smart. So if you really believe that God is the one giving us cures and preventions, why don't you believe that it's God that made those scientists that smart?
An image for farmer to replace their current HPV commercial with. Mom, Dad, did you know? Did you know when I was vaxxed that I would be a 26-year-old sitting in the back seat flapping a straw and shaking a percussion egg? Did you know that instead of allowing me to get a normal acute childhood febrile illness that was fully recoverable and only a week long at best, you allowed me to get those vaccines on time? Every time, to where I would miss every...
Oh, this goes on for way too long. If they are talking about measles in regards to a childhood illness that's fully recoverable and only a week long at best, go to a hospital and go to the measles ward, because there are too many people suffering from measles and there are too many people that are dangerously ill because of it, and you are an actual idiot. And Using your autistic son as your propaganda towards anti-vax is disgusting. Newsflash, he would be this way if you hadn't given him vaccines. No, actually, you know what? He wouldn't be this way if you hadn't given him vaccines, because chances are he would be dead. That's your choice here. If you really believe that the vaccines are the cause of his autism, that's your choice. Have him be autistic but alive, or have him be dead.
Isn't it incredible how we survived as a species without cribs and vaccines? #derp.
Newsflash, lady, there were 50 million deaths from the Spanish flu, and over a third of Europe died from the Black Plague. Lots of people didn't survive. Sure, we as a species survived, but you know, there's 7 billion of us, so chances are some of us are gonna survive. But when over a third of an entire continent are wiped out, maybe it's a good thing we have a way of preventing that from happening. Did you think about that? Hang on, is she wearing a tinfoil hat in her profile picture? Yeah, no, I don't need to say anything more, do I? This one is really long, and I'm not gonna read it all, and it's really depressing. Basically, this child, Evie, died, and they have this whole justice for Evie saying that vaccines killed her, and she was killed by a SIDS episode, and blah blah, all of that stuff. And having actually looked into this is actually evil that these people are doing this. Though I don't know if they are raising this money for an actual anti-vax cause or if they are just making off with this money, but the real reason their child died was from co-sleeping. They slept in bed with their child in an unsafe and unprotected manner that caused their child to probably die from suffocation in its sleep because it was being smothered by its mother while she was asleep. And they're blaming it on vaccines because, like, they killed a child, and they are blaming it on vaccines because they can't accept that they were at fault for smothering and killing their own child. That's what this post is about.
No kind of vaccine schedule is safe. No vaccine is tested for safety. No vaccine makes a child healthy. But every vaccine causes damage of some capacity to the child. Every vaccine contains harmful and toxic ingredients designed specifically to alter a child from their natural state. Vaccines contain cancer-causing agents, powerful neurotoxins, and sacrificial human DNA from abortions. Unregulated, untested, but yet giving complete immunity from the law.
This whole untested stance is really dumb when it takes you 30 seconds to Google vaccine tests and proof that vaccines are safe, and you know, we've got over 100 years of tests that prove the vaccines work and are safe. You are making this up. My kid is vaccinated and fine. Chronic ear infections, eczema, constantly sick, asthma, diabetes, allergies. Hi, my name is Blue. I am 19. I will be 20 this year, and I have suffered from none of these things, and I am fully vaccinated and up to date on my vaccinations, as are all of my friends who also don't suffer from these things. Also, you want to go into the whole constantly sick thing? Let's just take a look at the fact that children that get ill from dangerous diseases end up in a state where they are more vulnerable to other diseases, because there are a lot of cases of that.
Trying to figure out how an unvaccinated person can give a disease to a vaccinated person if vaccines work. First things first, our kids don't have anything to spread to your fragile, immune, damaged self or children. If your vaccines worked, you would be immune. You wouldn't be getting these diseases you fear so much.
First things first, they aren't scared of getting diseases from you. They are scared for the people that aren't vaccinated. It's called herd immunity, and it's the fact that if your child has measles and you decide to send him to school and there is a child who is unable to get vaccines due to an illness but would if he could, and then your child gives him measles, That is where you're at fault. If that child is vaccinated, he won't get measles from your son. If he can't get vaccinated, he probably will. And I hope that that can be a suable offense in the future, because I genuinely think that if a child has an illness and gives that illness to another child who is unable to get vaccinated, not through the fault of his parents, but through a fault of his own immune system, then his parents should be able to sue you for giving him a life-threatening disease.
My kid doesn't want to take his safety oil. What do I do, fellow anti-vax? Help!
Let it die!
Safety oil. She's just dousing her kid in some like WD-40. Oh, it's so dumb. Safety oil. The new fatalities brought the death toll on the mainland to 908, most of them in Wuhan and the surrounding Hubei province. A total of 40,171 infections have been confirmed nationwide. At least 25 countries have confirmed cases, and several nations have evacuated their citizens from Hubei. Major airlines have suspended flights to and from China in an attempt to stop the spread. 2 deaths have been recorded outside mainland China, 1 in Hong Kong and 1 in the Philippines. So, to all those people trying to say that, oh, the coronavirus, or however you say it, isn't that bad and that we need to stop talking about it, it's exactly this kind of censorship and trying not to talk about it that is going to slow down the production of a cure or prevention of the virus. People are dying and it is spreading. We need to stop this, not stop talking about it. It is lack of education that is the cause of people catching preventable diseases. Top secret WHO lab. We're almost ready with the Wuhan virus vaccine. We only need to make sure it causes autism. Genuinely what people think that vaccine scientists are like. This is what anti-vaxxers think goes on. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. And the final post. The post was, all vaccines list death as a side effect, and it's just not true, and here's the comments. All of them don't have death as a side effect, obviously.
You sure about that? Are you going to apologize when I find the insert of at least one vaccine that says differently? You and your obviously.
I don't care about inserts because they are unreliable when sourced online. Come back to me when you have been to university, studied, etc., and ask your GP about the side effects and a brochure about them.
I'm talking about the actual paper, the manufacturer itself.
I know what an insert is, and it's the same as good old-fashioned brochure. AV think they are being so smart by sourcing an insert, when really the definition isn't what you make them.
What's the definition of death?
Doesn't matter, we're talking about inserts. Why are you trying to change the subject?
Death is in the insert. I'm not changing the subject. You literally said the definition isn't what you make it seem. Lol, what is the definition of death?
Don't you understand, Stephen? Adverse effects listed on the inserts are nothing but a list of radical coincidences. Now chant the words safe and effective over and over until you've atoned for your sins. That's still irrelevant because I'm not talking about death, I'm talking about inserts. Not what's in them, but what they are. There is no such thing as the insert. It's a insert. You really aren't grammatically correct. Online inserts are easily edited and quite possibly not even scan. So don't turn me into a broken record and come back when you get an insert from the GP, not the internet. Thank you. People, get your information from reliable sources, like people that actually study this kind of thing. People that have researched it for years because it is their job or it is an aspiration. Don't get it off of Twitter, off of an anti-vax page. If you are looking for biased information, of course you will find it on a biased account. But that biased account probably also found it on a biased account. And maybe the information just wasn't slightly enough for them, so they altered it so that it was even more biased. And then someone else found it from that account and then altered it because they didn't like how it just wasn't quite fatal enough. It's called Chinese whispers. You might have heard of it. That is the entire basis of anti-vax research. None of it is true. It's all made up and exaggerated. Unlike people that talk about how safe vaccines are, because it is actually researched, it is safe, and it is a statistic. Thank you for watching, everybody, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.